I used to work for 44 North Coffee on Deer Isle, just across the bay from here. Summer residents would ask me if I lived in the area year-round, and I loved their expressions when I'd say yes. The coast of Maine, especially this far east, is an ideal place to be in wintertime. They couldn't believe it. But if you could go to a bonfire or sledding party, the state park's cross-country ski trails after fresh snow hits, or a potluck, if you'd watch as closely as you do your favorite TV shows the way the landscape changes as ice and snow pile up and melt out onto salty water, then pile up again, truly watching it, then you could know why we treasure this quiet time to rest or to play in the little bit of daylight we get so far east, in the magic of ice. On the west side of Penobscot Bay, Nicolle Littrell of DoryWoman Rowing knows that magic better than most people I've met, and that's saying something. She's a registered Maine guide with a unique business. She takes passengers for rows in her Swampscott Dory to enjoy the Passagassawaukeag River the whole damn year round, with people looking for all sorts of things: exercise, adventure, access to their river, birding, honed rowing skills, and sightseeing. Come eavesdrop on our conversation as we make our way upriver. I specifically came before the ice disappeared so I could listen to it crunch on the hull. Hopefully I didn't wait too long. Sorcière, by the way, is French for witch, and there is definitely magic in her.
This is Sorcière. She's Swampscott style. I don't know, she's a Ian Uhtred design?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he just pass away?
Yes, last year. She was built in Westbrook. She was built by the Compass Project.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
very cool.
In 2005. Yep.
Oh my goodness. At what point did you think like I could be a Maine guide for rowing?
That came much later.
Yeah.
I mean, I started rowing with Boating in 2012. And I only discovered them because I was like walking along the harbor on that path, and I just saw this group of absurdly happy people. And I was like, what is going on? And they were gathering and they were getting their gear together, the oars. I had no clue. And they were like, come out for a row with us. And I'm like, okay. So I did. And it was so fun and so satisfying and so unique. And I mean, I was an athlete growing up, so it hit a lot of those marks of, good workout. But then there was this total spiritual element to it of being out in the water. And I mean, I grew up in upstate New York on a dairy farm. So I was not an ocean person. I was not a boat person at all. So it shifted my relationship to all that. I grew up on lakes and swimming on lakes. But, there goes long-tailed ducks. Yep. And it just changed everything. It was totally transformative, rowing with Boating in that program.
Well, and they have different rows, so it's not like going to some kind of boot camp where you have a cox like yelling at you.
Well,
but there are those exercise rows, but
that's
there's also those, I've seen like a meditative.
Yes.
Sit quiet, by the monument.
Silent rows.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I stayed away from the getting yelled at rows for a long time.
Some people are just into it. I'm not going to yuck someone's yum.
Right. But then I just, I started getting curious about rowing competitively.
Yeah.
And so then I got into that and fell pretty hard into that.
Yeah.
Becoming a Maine guide, I mean, that's a whole pandemic story. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like the sort of thing where, so for people who for the uninitiated, the Maine guide system, for the uninitiated.
Yeah.
People who aren't in the know yet about how cool Maine guide is, like what, it essentially,
It's a system of accreditation or certification.
Yes, I'm a sea kayak guide, which
Okay.
covers all paddle sports.
Okay. So there is a
Below head
set
of tide.
list of.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
So you're picking it based on where you want to, where you want to do your guiding. So for me, it's out here on brackish and salt. So that means I have to be a sea kayak guide. But there's no ocean rowing or ocean paddling guide.
Right.
There's no classification like that. I've advocated at the state level to have that, to be more inclusive. I don't identify as a sea kayaker, but that's what I needed to do to be able to do this.
Right.
you know?
Right. Do you feel like, though, I mean, for you to get certified under that, it's a lot of similar skills that really amount to
Oh yeah,
safe
it's all transferable skills except
navigation and weather.
mapping
knowing
and
weather.
compassing and wind and weather and all of that. But what's interesting is the guides that I trained with who are master sea kayak guides don't know how to row.
Right.
And they're like, oh, I tried rowing once. I rowed in a circle. So it's sort of like, that was another point I brought up with the state was like, well, if it covers all paddle sports, including rowing, shouldn't there be questions about rowing on the test? Because, once you get the sea kayak guide license, you can do this. You can row, but nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
Like so far, I mean, from what I understand, I'm the only one doing this in Maine.
Wow.
Yeah, that there is a sea kayak guide that works out of the Kennebec that does sliding seat rowing. But there's nobody doing anything like this.
Oh, there's a little skim of ice there.
Yeah. So, and there'll be more ice upriver, but I thought we would just stop here.
Yeah.
We can go upriver a little bit, up about a mile. Does that sound good?
I'm so curious to know if I'm seeing what's really there, which I think looks like skin ice.
It is. We're gonna try to go up to it. I'm just watching how shallow it is here, and it's actually okay right now.
Oh, because we've got tide coming in.
Tide's coming in.
Right.
So, we're pretty good, but the ice has been, this little cove of ice has actually been mostly out here. So this is the farthest in I've seen it. Because there's been a lot of wind this week.
Yeah.
It's pushed out a lot of the ice, but all the ice is upriver. Are you warm enough?
Yes, thank you.
So we'll go right up against it.
Yeah, I don't want anything to happen to the paint. It's such a beautiful paint job.
Oh, thank you.
Do you know that?
I did it myself, but I need to find someone, Annie. And if you know of anybody that would paint my boat for me when I go on vacation in May, my goal is to go to Denver, Colorado to the Outside Magazine Summit.
Wow.
Yeah, and to get my boat out of the water and have someone paint it.
Oh my goodness.
Because I paint it every year. I mean, it's a relationship, right? It's like it's like a body.
Oh, for sure.
It's like the body of a lover, all of the nooks and crannies.
And also I'm so proud of what my boats.
Because I've seen all your posts, where you're working on your boat, and there is a pride of, but yeah, this is...
What is this green? Because people are going to ask.
What?
Probably, what color green is this? Is it an Epiphanes paint?
It's an Epiphanes, yeah, and it's, I think it's like a Kelly green.
It's just so pretty.
It is pretty, and I haven't changed it. This is what she was when I got her. Yeah, so here we are.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Ready for the sound? You ever rode in the ice?
A little bit, but not much. Oh my gosh, so cool.
So we can just hang out here for a moment. It is pretty beautiful. This is not that thick, but it's, of course I like to get, it almost looks like a beach. Look at the water kind of lapping up on the ice.
So great.
Yeah. The ice is like my favorite thing. I mean, it really is. And I spend as much time as possible rowing in it as I can. Hence the ice row that I'm doing this weekend with the sauna. The ice row sauna combo with Selkie sauna.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
I love all those sauna companies that are showing up.
I
and
know.
They're building beautiful mobile saunas.
Yes, well, that's the one that's going to be here. It's a mobile wood-fired sauna from Mount Desert Island. Yeah.
I think that's what some people don't understand about living up here is it's not like we all can't go out. It's
Right.
that we must.
Yes. Yes.
And that when we do, it looks a little different than what people would expect. It looks like standing around bonfires. It looks like
Yes.
sauna. It looks like rowing.
In the ice. We know how to do winter here. Not as good as the Canadians, but pretty good. The Canadians are freaking impressive as all hell. So here we are in a little icy cove.
May I never need more of a thrill than this. This is brilliant.
Well,
It's just so beautiful.
it is. It is. I'm glad you are an appreciator of it as well.
And the chunks, the way that the chunks kind of get set up gently on the edges.
Yes.
And you can see all their layers and
Yes.
through all the different tides, and then finally it breaks up, and now you're this archaeologist of just a few weeks of ice, but it looks like you're looking at a sample core. Or core sample, excuse me.
You speak my language with the ice because I'm always looking at all the variety. This is skim ice, this is surface ice, but then we get these big bergy bits that Catherine and I were encountering. And if you really want to have some fun, it's probably not thick enough for my claw. And my oars do not love this. No. My oars are really not happy with this. So we can do this with a paddle. There's some mallards that are not too happy over there.
Yeah. Before they were fine, and then they're like, okay, now it's just getting weird. see the mallards.
Exactly. That's almost thick enough for the claw.
That's amazing.
And I'd like to believe that there are many dories that have, been rowing in the ice. That it's not just me that it's like these boats are meant to be rowed year round. That's what I believe. I'm sure you
pretty
can
challenging
speak to
conditions. And what I love about this too, I think about bodies of all sizes and shapes being able to sit in this boat and be comfortable.
That's right. That's a great point.
With the motion of it, and
and that there's spaciousness to it.
Yeah.
You can move around in the boat.
Yeah.
We can switch seats. We've got room for a bunch of fish.
Yep. Or a third, if somebody wanted to come along with an extra person. And
I can fit 4 people in this boat.
Wow.
With me. I mean, a total of 4.
Yeah.
And
you probably, the water's a little closer to the gunnels, but it's, it doesn't feel unstable or something.
Well, the boat gains more stability with more weight.
Right.
So it's that whole hydrodynamics thing.
Yeah.
Where she likes weight.
Yep. And this is stitch and glue plywood construction?
Yeah.
Which is great because it's nice and light. The boat itself is light.
It is. The boat's a little over 200 pounds, or right around 200 pounds. Dry, without gear, But still, she's light. And her gunnels are hardwoods. Her knees are hardwoods.
Yeah.
But her, strakes and her hull is all marine plywood.
It's just very practical too. If you ever had a time when it was a little busy to be able to do your painting, let's say,
Yeah.
it's not going to be. And I noticed that you have a lot of coatings on here that are like really practical. You know, like you didn't bright finish the interior. Well, she probably didn't come.
Well,
bright
her gunnels
finish.
used to be bright work, all bright. But someone recommended to me at one point, just paint it.
Paint that. Yeah.
You know, so the only thing that's, and I think that was a good call. I think that was a really good call.
When I just think about all the time possibly taping if you cared, because I'm not a taper.
Yeah.
I do care about a clean line.
Yeah.
But I don't tape.
No, it's very practical. This isn't, you know, I am not a fine marine painter.
I also feel like it communicates that to people who are coming in here. They can reach over the gunnel or whatever, and they don't feel like they're going to ruin something.
Right. Right. Definitely not. It's meant to be comfortable.
You know, you walk into someone's living room with very fancy this or that, and you're like, I'm not sitting on any of this.
Yeah.
I'm a dirt bag.
Yeah.
It's usually I walk in with my boatyard outfits, and I'm just like, But this looks cared for. I feel like someone looking at this it looks safe. It looks welcoming to whomever's coming. Think about that.
Eagle. Oh. Hey, you gorgeous creature. Hey, beauty. We have a lot of eagles up here.
Do you have repeat customers? People are coming.
Oh yeah. So I
every week or.
Yeah. I have some people that row 2 or 3 times a week with me.
Wow.
Yeah, those are really my backbone.
Yeah.
You know, this time of year.
Yeah.
But in the summer, the numbers shift more. You know, it's more like 60% visitors, 40% Mainers. You know, people that live around here. Now we're gonna get into some good ice. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is where all the ice is. We go where no Doryman has gone before. Really stuck.
No.
So again, this doesn't really quite replicate the St. Lawrence, but it gives me a sense of it, you know? Like I'm not gonna get out and run on this ice the way they do in the ice canoeing.
Right.
In the ice canoeing, you know, they are portaging over the ice. They're scooting their canoes, which are set up as sliding seat rowing stations. But they're wearing cleats on their boots, and they have cleats on their oars. So they're running over the ice, the big chunks of ice, and then in the open water they're rowing. So they're going back and forth between that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they're literally running over huge flows of ice, then sliding back into the water where there's open stretches, rowing, coming up on another flow, scooting over it, and then, yeah, that's what it is. Wow. I know. And that's what I'm gonna do, hopefully, in early March.
That's wild.
Yeah. So we're just backing out.
Is there, I mean, I'm sure that there are plenty of days where it's like, it's just not safe exposure-wise to be out or...
Sure. You mean like for them or for me?
For you. Or for
Yeah, I
them.
mean, again,
Like in general,
I-
people look at this as extreme.
yeah,
Even if I was to call someone today and say that I went out on a river today
yeah. Someone would be like, "What were you thinking?"
and look
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah, exactly. I think again, it's so much relative, right? I mean, again, these boats are designed to be out here in this, and none of this is going to like sink the boat. This isn't the Titanic we're talking about here. But yes, of course, like we've had a lot of intense wind and cold combined together. That's not a great combination to be out rowing in. So unless I'm out there with someone very experienced, I mean, safety is the number one priority.
Yeah.
It's the number one priority. I don't see this as unsafe.
No.
If someone were uncomfortable doing this, then I wouldn't take them here. You know what I'm saying? Like in the winter, we stay close to shore. You can see we're pretty close to shore. We stay close to shore. I have a radio on board. I have my phone on board. We have life jackets on. I have extra flotation. It's a Dory. It's a very sturdy, seaworthy boat, as you well know.
It's brought a lot of people home safe.
Exactly. I was telling a story to Catherine this morning of the tug that crashed out on Monhegan back in whatever it was, the 1960s. What do you think they saved everybody with? They saved everybody with a Dory. That's a legendary story. The boat hit the rocks, the tug hit the rocks, and they brought a Dory over and they saved everybody with the Dory.
Yeah.
Ida Lewis from Rhode Island, Newport, she was pulling drunken sailors out of the harbor, So they're not infallible, they're not unsinkable, but they're about as good as it gets. In a pea pod too, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, I don't find this to be unsafe, and I certainly respect and understand how some people might. And, again, I scale the experience to the skill level and the comfort level of the people in the boat with me.
Right. I think when people hear about folks going out and running on ice or doing this and that, and they think maybe that's the level you have to be at to maybe have a good time,
right?
Or that you're doing it because it's extreme, and it's if you're like me, which I think we're cut from similar cloth.
I think so too.
That next thing that I do for sailing isn't because I'm chasing a thrill. I just reached some new level of skill.
That's right.
And now I know I can do that.
That's right.
And this other thing looks interesting. I'm not looking to be uncomfortable or unsafe.
Yeah.
Neither of those things ever.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
It just so happens that coming and getting stuck in a bit of ice is life affirming in a way.
Yes.
That we hope other people could potentially have.
It's an experience, and it gives you, it's a pretty accessible adventure.
Yeah.
It's like the ice is just a little bit up, we're just a mile away from my dock, and it's like we can commune with this ice, and we can have a totally unique winter experience that you're not going to have in any other way.
Yeah.
Except in a boat.
Yeah.
So this is often about as far as you get because the bottlenecks being in quicksand,
Yeah.
All right, we'll go over on the shoreline a little bit. Go say hi to the ice over there, and then we'll start heading back.
Sounds good.
And if you want to row, I'll film you.
Probably going
So now that's
to.
a pretty thick piece right there. See that? Not row you around. That's basically my position. I see no reason to not do it. As long as you're safe about it, you dress in layers, you have the right gear. There's no reason to not be out here if you enjoy doing this. Love about it. It's all of it is affected by tide, wind, like animated V's. So that's what I mean. It's art, you know. There's always some kind of an arty aspect to the ice. That's sculptural.
Goodness. I love that the rubber duck thing has become a thing.
Well, let me turn her around. She is the miniature version of Joy. I found her floating upriver.
Oh, wow.
Yep. In fall of 2023.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I've always felt like intricately tied to Joy because she appeared right when I started my business in August of 2021.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then now I've got this little Joy, and I like to say there's always a little joy in my boat. You want to row by yourself? Or you want
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, you said whiskey. You said whiskey, and now I'm...
What?
You said whiskey, and now I'm on a mission. Or I said whiskey, then you said whiskey. Now we've said it twice. And now we're going to say it a third time, and it's going to appear.
Yes. I'm going to follow